Hi, I'm Joe LaGilia, and on this episode of Not Your Average Joe, we're talking with Val Miller of Amy's Angels. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Joe, powered by Mortgage Message. My name is Joe LaGilia, and I'm joined today with Val Miller of Amy Angels. Val, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're so excited to have you, especially around the holiday season. If you can, just kind of tell us who you are, where you're from, and what your mission is.
Sounds good. I'm Valerie Miller. I am a physical therapist in early intervention. Early intervention are therapists that come into the homes, and those kids are birth to 3 years old. So I treat kids all in the Will County area. So when I saw a need, I started something called Amy's Angels, and I'm the founder of that. And it is a Facebook group on the Facebook page where you can find us, and we help therapy families at the Christmas season that need different things, such as basic needs or toys for the kids.
Love it. So I think where I want to get started is, just because it always fascinates me from an origin story standpoint, where did the name originate from?
So, as I said, I was a physical therapist. I am a physical therapist, and I worked with one of my closest friends, Amy Gutza. And Amy Gutza was a developmental therapist, and she was one of the most creative therapists. The kids loved her. We call our developmental therapists like the preschool teachers, and phenomenal. We worked together for over 10 years treating kids, and a lot of times we'd be in the homes together treating. And unfortunately, she had some medical complications from a surgery and passed away very young. She passed away at 40 years old. So she left behind a husband and 2 boys. And at Christmas time, Christmas was her favorite time of the year. So especially with her boys. And prior to her passing, we would pick therapy families that we worked with that we knew they were kind and working super hard, but they were a little down on their luck at Christmas time. So we would pick those families and we would help them. So one of the years, what we did was we sent the family in a limo to the mall.
Oh, wow.
And they got family pictures, and they had gift cards to spend on tons of presents for Christmas. They went to lunch. While they were gone in their home, we renovated their whole playroom. We painted, we decorated, we filled it up with toys, and when they came back, the kids were super excited. So they were one of our favorite things to do at Christmas. As well as prior to her passing, we went to Lamb's Fold, which is a homeless shelter on the east side of Joliet, and we renovated their whole toy room there too. We painted, we decorated, we put in tons of books, tons of toys. And we were super excited to do that one because it involved so many more families than just one. So that was the last one that Amy and I did, as well as her husband, her kids would be there renovating also and making it look really nice for them. So it was her passion to help these families in the therapy sense as well as the caring sense to help them at Christmas. So when she passed, we decided to do something in her name. And couldn't have been more perfect that at Christmas time, we then started Amy's Angels. And it was started by a bunch of her friends and family, and we've continued this now for 6 years.
Oh my gosh. So first off, what an amazing way to honor your friend.
Thank you.
And throughout those 6 years, just talk a little bit about the impact that the mission has had, whether it be from the amount of families you've helped or just the experience of it.
Sounds good. Well, we've helped probably about 35 families total. We pick 5 to 7 families every year. These families are handpicked by the therapist in the home because when we're in there treating once or twice a week, we really become part of that family. So we really see the need, and we see those kind, hardworking families that really need the help. So we're in the home, and we ask those families, would you like to make a list of basic needs and some wants that, maybe the kids would like from Santa or from Christmas. So we make that list and we put it out there, and we put it on our Facebook group, and we have a huge list, and we have about 200 people in our group right now. And they pick things off the list, or they Venmo or Zelle me money, and I go shopping for them, which I love. Hey, anyone sends me money, I love shopping with everyone's money.
Absolutely.
So it's tons of fun to buy those presents for the families that we know. And so then what we do is we fill all those needs. And their lists are pretty big because they need basic things like underwear. Dads need clothes if they work outside to keep them warm. A lot of winter hats, winter coats and gloves. And those winter boots are super expensive. I mean, for kids, they're like $20 and $30. So that's one of the top ones I get all the time for those kids. So we get those lists, we put it together, and we go and drop those off at their house. And we drop them off with like Santa and the Grinch and the reindeer. We all come dressed up, like lit up. It's like a parade in our cars. So it's really fun.
How amazing. So, I guess I kind of want to segue to the question, over these last 6 years, and what a great illustration you just provided. What are some of the most memorable experiences that you can recall over that time?
I'll tell you one story, and it's a little sad, but it's also like it's spread a lot of joy to this family. So we had a family, this was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and they had 4 kids, and it was a single mom working really hard with her 4 kids. And one of the things on their list was a Christmas tree. And we haven't had that on a list before. Usually it's, the toys that they want and basic clothes in the winter, things like I was saying. But this one is a Christmas tree. And I was really excited to get that on their list. So we went out, found this cute Christmas tree, bought some ornaments. And so we go and we bring in bags and bags of toys for them. And we set them in there, but the kids' eyes lit up with the Christmas tree. We took it out of the box, we put it together. The kids were putting the ornaments on, and we had Santa bring like a whole big basket of candy canes. And the kids took the candy canes and then put them on the tree. We weren't planning on doing that, but the kids thought it was the cutest thing ever to put the candy canes on the tree. So they decorated the whole tree with all these candy canes, and it was just really cool. The joy in these kids' eyes were amazing. Their little brother was the one who had therapy, and unfortunately, the mother called me a couple weeks later and said, due to tons of medical complications, the little baby had passed away.
Oh my gosh.
So it was so heartbreaking, and Amy's Angels was able to help with the funeral. But it was a heartbreaking story, but it was also to know that we provided joy to that family 2 weeks prior to that, too. So those older kids could experience some joy of Christmas too.
How memorable. I am floored by that story. I'm sure it's moving our audience as you're sharing it. The people, the group behind you, with you, side by side, where do these volunteers come from, or how do they get connected with you?
So the volunteers are friends and family of Amy, also therapists that worked with Amy. As the years have gone on, some of my own friends that didn't even know Amy have joined in with their children. I like part of it too is we have a lot of kids in our group and a lot of kids in my neighborhood that will save their allowances and buy a toy, and they'll donate it and they wrap it in their own wrapping paper. And then the parents will sit down on our drop-off day and they'll get on Facebook and they'll watch the videos. And those kids in my neighborhood love to see that their present is going to an actual family. And they get to see the kids hold the present and put it under the tree. Typically, they don't open them. They leave them for Christmas Day or Christmas Eve to open. But I think it's really cool for a kid to know, like, hey, I've spent all my allowance money here to help another kid. And they get to see those kids and they see how excited they are.
Yeah, it's so great. You could tell that you have a passion for this mission. And I guess my question would be, aside from Amy's Angels, I feel as though you've always probably been drawn to helping families with special needs. Is there more that you do that you would speak on above and beyond Amy's Angels when it comes to that?
Yeah, so being the therapist for 23 years, I've met thousands and thousands of families. And I see what those families go through. They go through a lot, emotionally, financially, physically. So we saw a need out there. We also started another Facebook page called Will County Special Needs Families and Therapists. And why I did that was to support them as well as to provide resources. So a lot of times a therapist might know something, a parent might know something, but we could put it together. And over the last 5 years of having that page, we have over 1,000 families in Will County. And part of what I love about that, they support each other emotionally, as well as, say if they have a piece of medical equipment that you might think a seating device might cost $500 and it costs $5,000. It's super expensive for medical equipment. And they'll put that device on the page and they'll give it away. And it's so wonderful that they're helping each other out. It's those little acts of kindness. Instead of going and trying to sell them for thousands of dollars, they just hand it to somebody. As well as they'll tell people like, oh, there's a carnival that, starts an hour before and it's free for families with special needs. And they can give them those resources and they can reach out and become friends. So a lot of people on that site have become friends. So it's just like a connection, between the therapists and the families.
Absolutely amazing. So, in speaking to our audience right now, there was a moment where, especially through the inspiration of your friend Amy, that you felt the need to do more. And so much of the show is bringing real community heroes like yourself to be able to inspire others. What would you say to someone who's watching right now that has an idea and hasn't taken it off the ground like you did with Amy's Angels? What would be a message of inspiration and encouragement you would say to them?
Well, I definitely think in the world we're living in right now, kindness is number one. So if we can spread any kindness out there, you just start the group and see who joins, So the more we can do to help each other and reach out a helping hand, that's huge. So even if you start something on Facebook and you have 5 people, that's okay. It's 5 people helping other people too. So that's what I try to instill in my own boys at home, and trying to reach out to the community too, because we can all help each other, even if it's just the support, not even if you can't help them financially, if you can help them emotionally too.
I love that message. I love it. Yeah. So, Val, whether someone is watching this and has been inspired to, as we know these things, need help financially and support in many ways, whether it's through fundraising or whether it's through, as you said, someone who says, hey, Val, how can I be involved? Maybe how can I be Santa? How can I help? Mm-hmm. What's a few ways people can get a hold of you, whether online or offline?
Well, definitely you can go to our Facebook group, and that's Amy's Angels. It's with the apostrophe S. In our main picture, there'll be all of us standing there in the dark, lit up, and it'll be Santa and the Grinch in the picture too. So you'll be able to find us on Facebook. The Will County Special Needs Families and Therapists, that's a great way for any families. We tend to have, most of the families in Will County, but if they're outside of Will County, that's fine too. They all support each other, so that's a great way to join that page. Also, my name is Valerie Miller. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me outside of that. If you find the Facebook page, it has all my information. It has my address. It has my phone number. We like to help out anyone who would need help.
I love it. Valerie, you were nominated because you were looked at as a real community hero, and the story you've shared today has certainly supported that. But my question for you is, in closing, who is your hero?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, knowing what I've done for all these years, it's all the families I've met over 23 years. So thousands and thousands of families. I see the emotional, financial, physical toll of all these families that have somebody with special needs. It changes the family, not always for bad. It could be good too, changing what they do. But we have to support them. We have to provide them, a break for an hour, anything they might need, because it's a tough thing to handle. And I see that every day from these families I meet. So those parents, those grandparents that step up to help their kids with special needs, they're truly my hero.
Love it. Well, thank you, Val, and thank you to Amy's Angels for all you do in the community.
Thank you.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in to another episode of Not Your Average Joe, powered by Mortgage Message. We'll see you next week, everyone. Take care.
Hi, I'm Valerie Miller. I am from Amy's Angels. I was just a guest on Not Your Average Joe. If you know any other community heroes, we would love to hear their story.